All right, I'm here with the current Swell guys. Thanks for coming in.
Thanks for having us.
You guys just performed for us, so thanks for doing that.
You're very welcome.
I guess first question would be, you guys, it seems like you guys are picking up a swell. You know what I mean? You guys are picking up steam, and do you feel the momentum with your band right now?
Yeah, definitely right now. There's a lot. There's a pretty good team behind us right now, and we're getting a lot of press and a lot of things are, big tour and a lot of hype, I guess. Right now, it's been pretty good.
Do you guys like doing press, that kind of stuff, the interview side of things, and
I enjoy it personally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Considering that our publicist is sitting in the room right now, I really enjoy.
That's the right answer.
No, but I always like doing interviews. I think it's kind of fun. I like meeting people, so it's nice to just talk on the phone with a random person and have a random conversation about music, I guess,
Cool. Long time ago, the new album just came out last month, and it's a different sound, I guess, for you guys in some areas. It's the title track as well. So right off the bat, can you tell us anything about that song? And can you tell us anything? Did the song come first? Did the album title come first?
When it came to this, the album title, we kind of were waffling a bit and trying to think of tons of different names for the album, and we just kind of settled on that because there's 4 guys trying to figure out the title for an album, and it can be difficult. And
yeah, a lot
just
of rock paper
on that. Yeah, exactly. Right. That probably was one of the names. We had so many different names for a list of names for the album, but yeah, and then we just ended up with that because it was the first song on the record when we put the titling together, and we're just let's just go with that.
It was one of those songs that people were gravitating towards,
okay.
Just as a very accessible song, and people were always asking about, oh, that song a long time ago, and we've been playing it for years. So I think Scott wrote it probably 3 or 4 years ago. So
so you wrote it a long time ago.
Yeah, exactly.
Nice.
Yeah.
So it's been around, and it was just sort of people were always asking about that song, and is that going to be on the record? We're like, we could just call the record that,
Mm-hmm. Cool. And it has a nice ring to it. It's Swell a long time ago. It's flowed nicely.
Is there a theme there? I guess maybe getting older, and you guys travel, and you've probably grown up since the previous 3 records, right?
Yeah, I think we discussed that the record does have our past records have been a lot about traveling, and I find this record's kind of about other people's lives and our friends' lives and our lives, more or less. It's just, and it's not. It wasn't meant like that. It's just when we kind of looked at the record after, and we just realized the record's kind of does have a theme to it, and just went from there. Does
that come from you were saying you like to meet people, and you're on the road all the time. You're probably meeting a lot of different people.
I don't know what it comes from.
Yeah, I think it's just from maybe when we were making records in our, when we were 19 and 20, or maybe it was we started writing songs around 20, by the time I'm 28 now, and you just sort of unconsciously develop, you start leaning, instead of being, I got the travel bug and I want to surf the world and that's all I want to do, you start to, you find love, and you find, you just form bonds with people that are in your lives, and you don't really know what's happening, but when it comes to songwriting, it just comes out a bit more.
Life happens.
I guess life happens, right?
Yeah.
And it's not that I still want to travel the world, and still want to surf, and I want to do all that stuff, but it's just an unconscious thing that
I find too, we've written a lot about that stuff, and I think we've always tried to not write the same song over and over again. We've written, you only can write so many songs about, even love songs, right? You can't, we don't always want to write love song after a love song, or a song about traveling and more songs about traveling. So I think it's just what's been happening in our lives. We discussed with it, we've never really put a direction before our songwriting. We've never been we need to write for radio this way. It's just we just write songs, and so it is pretty much just from our lives kind of thing. So.
Cool. Considering how diverse you guys are musically, are you okay with the recent, I guess, Roots Band tag? Are you guys all right with that being thrown in there?
Yeah, definitely. We've always had the surf rock tag, and
totally,
and that's always still there. That's something that we'll always probably be a part of. I remember when we'd fight it because we were surfers. We're no, we're not surf rock, but
Let's go hit some waves.
yeah.
Rock out, man.
Yeah.
But we accept it all pretty much. Roots rock is good for sure.
We'll talk about the because a lot of people know Young and Able, and that it's got a bit of an islandy sound. I mean, talk about the surf side of the band. You know, I know you guys do surf. Yeah, right. Okay, cool.
Yeah. We just
Like, are you influenced by reggae, and do you guys like that sort of stuff? The island sort of sounds.
Definitely, yeah. Like we discussed on this record that we had a lot of reggae songs written for the record, but we discussed like let's
Really?
let's
Okay.
not put reggae on this record
So
because
it was a
conscious effort. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, when we had this whole song list of like we had 25 songs or something, we kind of went through them all and we were like not totally sure on what the record was going to sound like, but we discussed that we wanted to have a cohesive record this time because our past records have kind of jumped around. But yeah, like who knows? Maybe the next record is a reggae record or
gonna be a gangster rap.
yeah.
One of the other songs you played for us is "I Want a Bird." What can you tell people about that song?
That song was, to be honest, was actually influenced by a Taj Mahal song. I remember leaving a Taj Mahal concert and he had his song Karina. It's like, I got a bird. And I just, it was that mixed with a Sun House song like Grinning in Your Face, where it's just like him clapping. And it was kind of like, we wanted to do this call response thing, you know, and it just kind of wrote itself. It was, I don't even know when I sat down to write it. I do remember being in my car coming home from the concert going like this. It's probably the mic, sorry. And like hitting my chest and just going like, I want a bird. Like driving, and then we got to a jam once and we just started jamming it out and kind of just came from there.
Is that a love song? Is it a?
It is, yeah. It's just like, you know, looking for love, right? Like I want a bird, like I want like this girl, you know, like the bird is the girl, and if she, you know, a bird can leave, like fly away if she wants to, but if she decides to stay with me, then it was meant to be, kind of thing, you know.
Yeah.
And it's weird how just like I don't consciously like ever remember writing the lyrics down or anything. It just, we were just jamming and just like all kind of came out. It was really cool.
For the Land is another song you guys did for us, which that was a really interesting version. It sounded really good. What can you tell us about that song? Is that a love versus faith, a religion versus love thing?
Yeah, it comes from a story that my girlfriend's grandpa told us, and it was sort of like his battle with when he was about 18 or 19, and he met his wife to be, and they were from like a strong Jewish family, and he was not, and there was this like
Tension.
There was this tension, and after I heard his story, I just sort of, you know, we just sort of played it out as like I took a role and Scott took a role, and we just built this. Like I think a lot about religion sometimes, and just like the goods and bads of it, and that was like a love versus faith, and why do they have to play into each other, and what does it have to do, and without getting too much into it, I just, you know, we came up with this neat little story song, and it's pretty cool.
You guys are okay? Are you guys okay putting that kind of stuff out there? You know what I mean? Getting personal about your grandpa, or, you know?
Yeah, like
love, whatever.
It's a bit more challenging, I think, to go to that spot and then be open about it. But I think people really get something out of that, because they know that you're like putting yourself out there a bit, and yeah. And I mean, the first time that I played the song, and I showed her grandpa, I was like, I checked this song out, you know?
Yeah.
He's like, or no, it was his niece came and watched my concert, and I told the whole story, and it's and she was like, Grandpa, I heard this story, blah blah blah. Like, he was like, that sounds familiar, and she's like, yeah, is that yours? What happened to you? And he was like, yeah.
Wow.
So, well, the story goes like
It's a great story.
Yeah, they were. Yeah, I should have just told it earlier.
Did it end happy? The story?
Yeah.
You tell it really quick.
Yeah. Here's a quick version. Okay. I'll try to make it quick.
Cole's Notes version.
Boy meets girl. Boy and girl move out together, and are living in sin, sort of. And girl's family is very disturbed at this. She's from like a Jewish family,
And he's not.
and he's not. And they decide, the mom of the girl, they decide they're going to get her back. So they pick up the phone, they connect through the operator, and like, hey Lois, listen, you got to come home. Your dad's sick. He's really sick. He's on his deathbed. Something really bad has happened, or whatever. Come home now. We need you. It's really important. Hangs up the phone, and then so she's sitting there, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, it's my dad, and I gotta go." Like, and I don't know when I'll be back. You know, I don't know where this leaves us, but it's family. So the phone rings, and it's the telephone operator, like from the days of the switchboard operator. And she's like, "Listen, I eavesdropped in on the whole conversation while I was connecting, and your mom was talking to your dad, and she was like, I'm gonna make up whatever I need to do to get her back. I'm gonna do whatever it takes." And the operator's like, "I just had to tell you that because this is going to eat at my conscience forever."
Wow, that's a heavy story.
So, yeah, and it's amazing because they took off on the spot and got married.
Hung up the phone and went and got married.
Yeah, and then from there they just led a whole life that trickles down to, you know, I have a girlfriend of 5 years that came from that line of that decision of that switchboard operator. That's why on the back cover of our album there's a telephone switchboard operator.
Okay.
It's because that decision that woman made to, just like, you know,
yeah,
she could have lost her job. I'm
totally,
sure.
yeah.
And I can't imagine who that woman is. Like, I don't think anyone knows who
she's got some good karma.
Yeah,
but
she cares about love, you know. It was just like, it's pretty cool.
So that's where that story comes from. And so we took some liberties in making it into a accessible story where Scott could play the role of the father and I could play the role of the boyfriend. But basically it's just like, yeah, love versus faith. How does that work?
Cool.
We love that song.
Yeah, great song, great story.
Yeah, great story, great.
You mentioned, you know, revisiting places, you know, so when you're playing stuff live, and maybe not that song, but are there any songs that you don't like to play live where you're just like, I don't feel like going to that space. I'm having a great day. I don't want to go there. You know what I mean?
I think the songs that we just don't like playing live are sometimes just older songs that we've played, maybe, you know, like, or, you know, because we have changed so much over the years that some of the songs that we've written in the past almost seem like not us anymore, like not even our band. So we like, you know, and they're fan favorites, and they're like, oh, can you play this song? It's like, we don't really play that song anymore because it's kind of just like not what we're doing. But I think like a lot of the really personal songs we still really like to play. Like,
yeah, we've been in like party atmospheres, like a typical bar show where it's a bit more of a party. And we really want to play like this song off the record called Brad's Song. It's like pretty dark and it's pretty personal. Yeah. And we'll always have the discussion. Well, this is too much of a party crowd, and they don't want to follow us down this path.
They want to go there.
But we'll be like, let's just do it. And 9 times out of 10, it gets really quiet, and people really listen, and they're like, I really appreciate that, you know. And so you don't always want to be like, oh, is it a downer song? Do we want to play this downer song? But I don't know, just people, and we get something out of that, and people get something out of that.
Yeah, if anything, it's like we almost like to play the personal songs more, like, because, you know, like he said, it's like a crazy party atmosphere, and we're still like, you know what, screw it, like, we want to play this song because we feel strongly about it, and we'll play it anyways because we love to play it, you know. And so
yeah, cool.
It's nice.
What are you guys listening to? What's on the iPod these days?
Last couple records I listened to were Tune Yards.
Yep.
The Fruit Bats. I listen to the Fruit Bats all summer long. I'm a big fan of them right now. And the new Feist record. It's really good.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm listening to Whitest Boy Alive. And I was recommending them last night to someone. And I was listening to the new John Butler yesterday. Well, not that new, but it's there. Yeah.
Last question. You guys have shared the stage with Beto and Soundclash. Yep. All the way up to the Beach Boys. I was gonna say the Beastie Boys.
So sweet.
But well, that's actually my question. Is
that's what we're doing with the next record, the rap record. Is so
it's gonna get us to the Beastie Boys.
Awesome. Can't go wrong with that direction. You know, what would be your dream bill that if you guys were to be included on a dream bill?
Oof,
I guess the Beastie Boys.
No, it'd be Neil Young for me. Like if I could ever,
Uncle Neil.
Yeah, but that's just obviously ridiculous.
if he would bring us on.
Ah, you not really.
You never know.
Yeah,
No,
sure.
you never know.
Yeah,
Okay,
can you
do
put
it.
this out? Hey Neil, we like you a lot.
Yeah.
Anybody else that you guys would love to perform
Oh,
with?
there's so many
If you
people.
could get on a bill, you know?
Yeah.
If
So you got Neil Young, he's headlining the show.
Yeah.
We'll say that you guys are on before Neil.
I think like a really cool Canadian band that has been around forever, like the Tragically Hip, would be really cool to play with.
Yeah.
Because they're just like such a Canadian sort of. It's just such a Canadian thing that would
Yeah,
be.
totally.
I mean, I think everyone's got to say that because we
Yeah.
owe it to them to do that. But there's tons of bands. Like I'd love to play with like Dan Mangan. He's pretty sweet.
Or
We have played
Elliot
with him.
Brood would be
Elliot
really
Brood's
rad.
pretty sweet, and
Like for Canadian bands, I guess.
A lot of great bands, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you
And,
guys
like-
feel more Canadian, you know, having toured across the country? You know, do you feel more Canadian?
I think so. Like it's cool that we've driven across this country a lot of times and back and forth, and it's a very beautiful country, and we've done it in all seasons too, which is really nice. We've got to see like Ottawa in the fall, and you know drive.
you're like driving over the Great Lakes in the fall, you know, the reds, and
It's
you're
just
like,
a
wow, this is
sea
what
of
they
red
wrote
and
about.
white, yeah.
Oh my god, this is so cool.
But this is our first time going out east, and I'm so
Oh,
excited
really?
to go
Sweet.
out east.
Yeah, you guys will
'cause-
probably have a blast out there.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, there's something about for me that I always get so things just start flowing when we hit Saskatchewan because I have like such a family. I have a lot of family history through Saskatchewan.
Okay.
And it's like just so we hit the prairies, and it's always like you're driving west towards the mountains. You know, you're going to be in the Rockies in a day, and the sun starts setting, and it's just like prairie breeze. It's just so beautiful, and you're like, wow, yeah, I just connect to that, and you feel so Canadian. It's just the neatest thing.
Cool.
Mhm.
Seriously, last question. You know, you were just talking about being Canadian, so I have to ask about hockey. You guys are from BC. Did you guys riot when the Canucks?
No.
No.
Well, me and Davis grew up in Alberta, so we're Edmonton fans. Edmonton Oilers
Okay, cool.
fans. And we didn't jump on any bandwagon when
Good for you.
Vancouver.
Well, they
started.
hate the Oilers, Canucks.
Yeah, no,
not-
I know. We
yeah, it's
were there like boo.
When
But
when the Oilers made their cup run, we were like, okay, we're gonna prove that Canucks fans are bandwagon jumpers.
Yeah.
And so this was like I don't know 4 years ago, cup
So
run
Vancouver.
Oilers, and we would be in the club playing a show in Vancouver, and we'd be like, Oilers, make 500 people, like Oilers. Shortly after that, we decided we don't need to like
we
affiliate with sports anymore.
anymore?
So
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
like,
Right on. The Oilers are doing really well, though.
Yeah, they are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're going down when you play the Leafs, though. All right, guys. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you so much, man.
Cheers.
Yeah,
Yeah, thank you.
nice meeting you.
Totally.
Thanks.